Hello, my gorgeous ones. Welcome to Alicia Budget Beauty. My name is Alicia here on my channel. I love affordable fashion and beauty. I do hauls, tutorials, reviews, palette rundowns, all sorts of fun stuff. So if that sounds good to you, please subscribe, stick around, and be a friend. And today I am donning some very fall looking vibes here because it is now September, and I thought what a better time would it be than to give you guys all of my fall palette recommendations that I personally own. Now, this is not to get you to go out there and buy like crazy. Maybe you have some of these in your own collection. Maybe you forgot about them. Maybe you never thought of them as a fall palette. Or maybe this gives you an idea of one you have in your collection that's similar and you can bust that out. Or maybe you are in the market to buy some new fall palettes. So regardless of what it is, I'm really excited to just get into the autumn spirit and show you 26 of my fall inspired palettes. All right, you guys, so my criteria for a fall looking palette is I need some oranges, golds, maybe even some pinks, but a certain tone of pink that can pair well with orange and red. Maybe there is some red in it. Definitely some greens, but more of those earthy greens or grungy greens or more like Everest looking green. And even if there's a blue in it, I still consider it a fall palette if it's like a navy or a blue that you can picture juxtaposition next to a beautiful like orange tone. So and a yellow. I love a yellow. So not all of these palettes have all of those shades in there, but they may have some of them, most of them, or a few of them. So I'm gonna start with some of my more affordable palettes and kind of go up to most expensive. They may not be exact cheapest to most expensive, but sort of around there. So we have a She Glam Zodiac palette. This is the Lively Leo. This is my Leo. I'm a Leo. So really cute packaging. I love the outside of these. They did a really good job. So here's what it looks like inside. And to me, this absolutely screams fall with the yellows, the orange, the burnt orange, brown. Then you do have a glitter up here, but it's real shifty from like an orange to a gold. Here's what this looks like. And honestly, I'm not a big glitter person, but these from She Glam and these palettes are actually really, really good. Like it, to me, whenever I look down, this is green, but to you guys, it has this like peachy orange. I think that's gorgeous. These are like $6 and all of them, all of the zodiac signs of them that I have are really, really good. Next up, this is a phenomenal affordable palette. This is the Luna Magic Desnuda palette. You guys, if you don't know Luna Magic, they are so underrated. I have blushes from them that are so pigmented. Their lippies are good. Their eyelashes are amazing. The Bella Lash specifically is one of my favorites. And then I also have 3 or 4 eyeshadow palettes from them. This one is so fall to me. The shimmers perform really, really nicely. The mattes are pigmented. They blend well. And I think this is around $15. You can get them on Walmart.com, CVS, Target, and then on their site as well. Then we have this Mora Cosmetics Time to Shine palette. This is from the Celestial series. So here we have some grungy greens, muted greens. We do have some browns in here, some golds, and this is very fall to me. Like you don't have those warm fall tones with like the oranges and the reds and yellows in here, but you do have those greens and browns, golds. It's actually not gold. It's more of a champagne-y color, but like this is a green gold. And it's so, so stunning. And here's another greeny shade in here. Shimmers are excellent in this. So are the mattes, and it's super, super affordable. Highly recommend those palettes. Next up, we have the Avocado Toast palette from BH Cosmetics. So this one I think can kind of go either, spring looking, but I think it can also go into fall with some of these deeper colors here, especially this row. This roll definitely says fall to me, but then I think like you can warm it up with this one here, these here. Maybe if you wanted to leave out some of the lighter greens, but you could still shade them in and make it fall looking. But I think if you stick with like, for sure this row, the yellow, orange, burnt orange here, and even maybe this peach, you can make like a pretty fall leaves into like the earth getting like darker green. I think that would be really, really pretty. Then we have the LA Girl Hey Hey Vacay palette. Now, Hey Hey Vacay makes it sound like it's all tropical, but to me, this is fall in a palette. Absolutely. I want to say this might have been either the first or the second LA Girls. LA Colors is a sister brand, a little bit cheaper than LA Girl. I think this is one of the first LA Girl palettes like this in this size that I ever used. And I was like, this is only $17, somewhere around there. I've seen these as low as $13, $14 on sale, and then I think as high as around $20. So still, you get pretty big pan sizes in here. It performs really, really well. And I mean, this is fall with your like deep orange and your golds, and then your greens, browns, neutrals. Like if you're an earthy girl and you just want some like pops of like warmth, this is your affordable fall palette. Now we have this NYX Ultimate Utopia palette. Now this is, I think, around $34 if you get it regular price, but Ulta has sales all the time, and especially on NYX, so you could definitely get it cheaper. Now this palette is massive. I followed a girl, or we follow each other on Instagram, and she is an MUA that lives in the UK, and it was probably a year and a half ago, somewhere around there, she was raving about this palette. So I went ahead and got it. And you guys, I should really pull this out more often. It performs really, really well. And to me in here, I do see almost all seasons. Like I think over here is more like wintry, but you could also tie some of these in for like, you know, more like spooky season looking stuff, which by the way, this is not a spooky season palette. I'm gonna do a separate one for Halloween palettes. There may be some repeats in there, but I think they might be mainly different because I look for different things in a spooky season palette, Halloween palette, than I do in like quintessential fall. But you could use some of these deeper shades for something like that. These lighter shades are more like springy in here. But fall, I do see in like this quad down here is very, very fall. All of these look very fall to me. This one. So I just wanted to pull this out, that even though the whole thing doesn't look fall to me, if you own this palette already and didn't think about it for fall, I do think you could get a lot of good fall looks out of it. Next, we have a Juvia's Place. This is the Nomad. Honestly, this is one of my favorite Juvia's Place palettes, especially in this 9-pan format. I love this color story. It is like sunflowery, but it's like earthy. It is beautiful on the eyes. I mean, I think these tones specifically, these shades are so flattering to any eye color, green, blue, brown, what have you. Hazel, this would be so beautiful. It would bring out that like yellow to the eyes. I just love this palette. Great formula, really inexpensive, and definitely a fall contender. Then we have this Futurism palette from Collidos. Now, I don't know for sure if this palette is available. I think a few of the Futurism palettes were still on the Collidos site a while back, but not all of them. But this is Futurism 1 Sci-Fi Green. And this is a very similar color story to the one I just showed you. You only get 6 shades in here, but I think you could definitely do a gorgeous fall look with this. I love this brand. I definitely need more from this brand. I only have several of these Futurism palettes, but I'm still waiting for them to come out with that one bigger one that I want to jump and grab. But this definitely says fall to me. So if you have this in your collection, pull it out. All right, very underrated palette. This is the Nomad Beauty Black Magic palette. You guys, I love their shadows. I think that they are so good. And this wasn't extremely cheap, but I did get it on sale. I want to say off of Ulta. Occasionally these will go on sale for like 25, something like that. But I love that you have this extra little pop of these two colors here. So like if you take those out, even this pink, like you just see some of those typical shades we just saw, like the green, gold, yellow. But I do think that these tones or these shades in here as well say fall to me also, because they can really deepen up the eye and have that little bit smokier of a fall look. So highly recommend Nomad Beauty's eyeshadow palettes. Then we have this Queen Bee palette from Colored Rain. I'm not sure if this is still available either. I love Colored Rain. I have pretty much every single palette of hers. Queen Bee palette was phenomenal. This is honestly one of my favorite palettes in my whole collection. This is a gorgeous like multi-chrome in here. It is so beautiful. And I just, oh, these are so yummy. These shades right here are super yummy. But then you got this black that you can smoke it out as well. So if you got her, bust her out. And it has a cool holographic, look, it's flying. I love that so much. It was so cute. This was an underrated palette, big time. All right, now the Ace Beauté Falling For You palette. I mean, Falling For You, leaves on the front. It's definitely gonna be a fall palette. And she definitely is. And this was actually, I'm pretty sure this was the first palette that they came out with their new formulation that's a little bit better than their older palettes. I do think that their older palettes also perform really well, but this one was a step above that. Again, you have your obvious fall shades in here, but then you do have like the purple, the magenta shimmer, and then this really deep, like purple black in here. So I do think this is another one that might qualify also for like an actual spooky season palette, because I could see this being like witchy or vampy. So, but it definitely works just for fall as well. I think if you just look at this, well, what am I trying to, maybe if you took out the purples, it just looks fall, and then you have those purples in and this one, and you're like, ooh, this could go witchy. So that might go in the next video as well. Then we have this Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. I think this was my first Huda Beauty palette, pretty sure. And I was debating on this one. I'm like, is this fall? I'm like, yeah, I totally think this is fall. This is sunset vibes as well. Like this definitely could have been like a summer sunset palette, but I also see fall in here with your deep tones and then your kind of warm browns over here. So this is an older palette, and I think some people may forget about it in their collection. So you might want to bust it out for autumn. Speaking of autumn, you guys, this pains me. I hate showing you guys palettes that aren't available anymore, but just in case you do have them, or maybe if you see them on resale sites like Mercari, or even sometimes brands will bring things back. And they're in my collection, so I like to use what's in my collection. I have to bring this one up. This is a Simply Posh Autumn Leaves palette. You guys, I kind of miss, like, I love how Simply Posh started doing all those monochromatic rows with your medium or light to deep mattes with the special shades in the middle, the shimmers. But I kind of miss these special just shade palettes that she did, like this one and Northern Lights. I mean, these are all special shades. Look at that. They're so stunning. This is just fall, shimmery, shifty gorgeousness right here. Let me just do a few on my hand. Oh, look at that green one. I mean, this is a beautiful special, well, I kind of swatched this red one bad. Ignored that, that was me. But I mean, hello, right here. You guys, I wish she would bring this back, but if you have it, bust her out. All right, then we have a Natasha Denona, and this is obviously cheaper because it's a smaller one. This is the Fez palette, and I actually really love this palette. And you do have this blue in here, but this is a case where you wouldn't always, when you say, give me your fall colors, you wouldn't say blue, but I do think that this works. Like it's more of that saturated blue, like a deeper royal blue. And it just pairs so beautifully with like this orange. This is such a beautiful shade. And then this gold shimmer in here is so beautiful. Very minimal, like little 5-pan palette you can bust out for fall. All right. Then we have It's Belle Cosmetics Dawn of Fall. Again, another all special shades that says fall. Now this one leans like all kinds of ways to me because it is so shifty. Now you do have these that look more like summery maybe, but like a green like this that actually has like, see how it's like green to gold? Whoops, okay, well, okay. There's those two shimmers. So I do see some fall in this because there's like a purple and like green gold that if you pair it with something like this one, that's just kind of, oh my gosh, look at that. That is so pretty. Like you put in some like deep browns, some like warm oranges, and then you pair these together, pop these in the corner. That still says fall to me. So good. I love It's Belle, you guys. So good. She has something new coming out. Something to do with fairies, and I'm very excited. Now we have Mountain Trails by Sydney Grace Cosmetics, one of my absolute favorite brands of all time. And this is for my earthy tones girls that want fall but are too, like maybe the orange is too much for you. This still says fall to me. Gorgeous greens. You have this kind of mustardy. I love a mustard yellow. This one as well. The shimmers perform beautifully. Oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that. That is called Be the Sunshine. Super. I put that over another swatch. Hold on. I'm like, I know that swatch is prettier than that. Okay. Be the Sunshine, like a greeny gold. So definitely consider that one a fall palette. Now, Maneater After Dark by Tarte. This was one of my favorite palettes of last year still. I know some people kind of went back on it. They're like, oh, it's amazing. And then they end up decluttering it. And I'm like, no, I love it. I love this palette. I think the people that declutter it are major indie brand people, which you guys see, I have tons of indie brands. I love indie, but I will give mainstream credit where it is due. This palette's beautiful and it performs amazing. The new one that's out right now, I was so excited for because I love this one so much. The color story just doesn't speak to me. I was trying to talk myself into it and then I'm like, no, because I love this palette. It's not gonna beat this one for me. So, I mean, this orange is one of my favorite. Heated. It is so pretty. I keep swatching over. Swatches I already have on my fingers, but ooh, that one's really soft. But yeah, these two right here are from this palette. This is fall. Absolutely fall. Now we have the Golden Hour palette from Beauty For Real. Beauty For Real is a brand owned by a mature woman who is so real and just very sweet. And I love her makeup. I have a lip gloss on today that is so good. It's a plumping golden, like, oh, it's so pretty. And I love her liners. And I also love this palette. So this is the Golden Hour palette. This could go summery, like it looks like summer golden hour, but I think it's also very fall leaning. And I love this burnt orange here. Definitely matches what I'm wearing right now. This one is a multi-chrome pink to gold. And I mean, you got your deeper, it's just, I really love this palette. I had to give it a shout out because not very many people talk about it. And I definitely think it qualifies. Now this is not available anymore. Again, I'm sorry, but this is the Red Dragon palette from Odins Eye. Still, in my opinion, the trio from this collaboration was the best they've ever done collaboration wise, including Angelica's like not, I think these three beat it all. I loved them. The Wolf palette, this one, and Hummingbird. But Red Dragon is so fall. This is like fiery fall. This is grungy fall. It is earthy fall. It's leafy. It's beautiful. So many gorgeous textures in here. This palette is amazing. And again, I'm so sorry if you didn't get to get it. I wish they would stop doing these limited releases. Just keep them available because everyone should be able to own that palette. This is a newer one for me and I have it on my eyes today and I love this palette. So this is the Killer Purr palette from Menagerie. And this actually just came back at like maybe 2 weeks ago, but a week and a half ago. And they shipped it to me quick. So I think it was just maybe a week and a half ago. And I had to get it because I missed it the first time. And my middle son is a lion lover. His lovias, alali as we call them. And I was like, oh my gosh, why do I not own that palette? There's lions on the front. And then the color story, I was like, yes, this is so unique in my collection. I do not, maybe if I searched on my palettes, I've got each of these shades in something. Definitely don't have them all together. I don't think I own a shade quite like this one. It is a kind of khaki green that I have under the eyes today that I just love. The shimmers in here are beautiful. This one's shifty. This green, you guys, it's so pretty. I mean, you guys probably know by now I'm a sucker for a green gold, but this palette's beautiful. Just the tones are kind of like, it's like a toned down, muted sort of fall color story that could also go summery and spring too. I am so impressed. I've only used it twice. I have another Menagerie palette plus some singles, so I do know the quality. And ooh, you guys, this is available. Like, get it if it calls to you. I'm not trying to tell you guys to go spend your money like crazy. This is absolutely fall. This is Nomads last year, their fall release, the Hudson Valley palette. I mean, maybe the most fall out of all of them. And I love how you have warm tones, cool tones, you have saturated, but you also have muted tones in here. This is one of their best palettes. And I think it's also one of their most like consumer friendly, you know, where anyone could use this palette. You know, it's not too much color, but it's not too neutral. It's just beautiful. They did an amazing job with this one. It's absolutely fall. Then I also have two more Nomad I'm including in this. So the Nomad Safari palette I'm going to include in this as well. I know this came out like summertime and I do see summer, I see spring, but I also see fall in here, just if you're more of the earthy tones and the greens, if you're into, you know, like these sort of mustardy greens down here, browns. Again, if you're scared of oranges and you just want to go these tones, then I definitely think this also works. Now, I'm not including their spooky season palette for this because I think I might put that in spooky palettes, but I am going to put their spooky season palette from 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago now? Yeah, 2 years ago. The Haunted Europe palette. So again, I see multiple seasons in this, but I definitely think this one qualifies as a fall palette, not just a spooky season palette, because you do have the orange, the gold orange in here, the deeper kind of burnt orange, browns, and then you have this midnight blue that I was talking about that I do consider a midnight blue to be a fall color. So maybe other than like these shades here, I think the rest of it looks very, very fall to me. There's definitely winter in here as well. Some spooky season as well, but it does say fall. It does. Then we have what it was the craziest marketing maybe of any palette I've seen that made 0 sense. We have the 12 Days of Lunar palette from Lunar Beauty. If you guys remember, this was the advent calendar one, and they were all little individual shades, and you could arrange them how you wanted, and you opened it as if it was a advent calendar for Christmas or the New Year. But this is a fall palette. Makes 0 sense that this was a winter release and like a holiday release. My theory still stands that this was always supposed to be a spooky season or a fall palette. Something happened in production where it got delayed and he didn't want to lose money on it. So he just, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. But I love this palette. I love the quality. This is fall, absolutely. I definitely plan on busting this out in October. Like I could see myself wearing this to like, you know, pumpkin patch, corn maze. So like right here, you definitely have that like sunflower type of look. But then like even these down here, I think also work, tying it in with the other shades. So do not let the packaging fool you. This is a fall palette. All right, last two, we have the Adept Cosmetics Heather Austin palette. So I opened this looking at it and I'm like, does this say fall to me? And it really, really does. I mean, I never really thought of it before as just, that's a fall palette until I was looking in my collection specifically for that. And I mean, I think this little trio right here could make a gorgeous fall look. This again is that, you know, yellow, green, yellow, green. This blue, I still could kind of see, like if you imagine the sky in fall and then just all the fall colors around it, I think could tie in. So I think this definitely works as fall. This, honestly, this is not my favorite of my Adept palettes. There was a lot of hype around it. But I do still really like it and I do think it's fun for fall. Now, last palette is the Natasha Denona Yucca palette. So I'm pretty sure this is the most expensive out of all of these, but I got this pretty cheap, actually cheap. Ulta used points. It also let me apply a coupon when I got it. So I think I got it for $50. Which is not bad, honestly, for Natasha Denona. And I do think this is more of that muted fall again, that it's not that punchy, warm fall. This is like grungy, muted fall to me. And absolutely think you could use this in the next couple of months. That is it, you guys. That is 26 fall looking, fall inspiring palettes in my collection. You guys have to let me know if you have some of these in yours. What are some of your favorite fall palettes? Do you plan on picking any of these up now? And as always, have fun shopping. Budget shopping.